Hello, everyone, and welcome to WTF Gamerscast, our official WTF Gamers Only podcast. I'm Jarrell, and I'm here with Christy,
Hi.
Brandon,
Yo.
and Toby.
Hi.
And this week we're going to be talking all about E3. E3 2018 just finished, and so we're going to go through the list of everything that was announced, and we're going to give you our opinions on what we thought about the conference as a whole, starting with EA. So first up was EA, and they gave us Battlefield 5, FIFA 19, some information on cloud gaming, Origin Access premiere, Star Wars Jedi The Fallen Order, Unravel 2, Sea of Solitude, NBA 19, Madden 19, and Anthem. That's everything that we got from them. So I guess I'll start with Brandon. What did you think about E3 as a whole? What interested you and what didn't?
Did you mean EA as a whole?
Yes, EA.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, so as far as EA as a whole, not a whole lot grabbed me. I predicted that this was going to be a very heavy conference on apologies because obviously the whole Battlefront 2 thing was a major debacle and was a big problem. And sure enough, they did spend a good amount of time talking about fixes and Battlefront 2, how they're going to fix the infrastructure and whatnot. As far as what interested me, you know, as much as Battlefront 2 has done so much wrong, I love Star Wars, so I'm hoping that they really do a lot to fix that, especially since they're going to have new content based on Solo and more content based on the Clone Wars, which is stuff that I really like. I will say the only two things that kind of disappointed me a bit was, first of all, the announcement, or should I say non-announcement, of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, where they literally just went to a guy who's developing games and said, hey, this exists, this is the title, where it is, and no logo, no gameplay. It's the epitome of announcing something too early, if I'm being quite honest with you. But hey, next year it'll hopefully look good, but it's just a little bit too soon to announce it. And the other thing was Anthem, I guess, which that game is still so far away. I'm hoping it's good, but the gameplay they showed really didn't grab me that much. I'm hoping more will kind of fix that, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. So that's EA for me.
And Christy, what did you think?
Honestly, I'm not big into FPS gaming and whatnot, but I think it's interesting that they announced the cloud gaming, especially since correct me if I'm wrong. If I think with the cloud gaming, you're able to play it everywhere on all mobile devices or something.
They said playing games anywhere, anytime, game streaming with a subscription on mobile platforms. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it can be interesting. It could be good, could be bad. Who knows? I guess stay tuned for more details later.
Mm-hmm.
But as for that, Anthem looked pretty interesting, but overall I feel bad, but I'm more meh.
No, that's cool.
Just because it's games I kind of don't play. Oops.
That's totally fine. Toby, what did you think?
I'm also in the meh camp because a lot of the games I don't really play, so I wasn't too excited. What were their major announcements then? The Battlefront stuff.
Yeah,
the battle.
Their esports, so FIFA, Madden, NBA. Yeah. I know that you were interested in Sea of Solitude.
I'm lying, aren't I? So Sea of Solitude did look interesting. That one was one that piqued my interest just because I love story-driven narrative titles, and it looks much like the look reminded me of Rime, and I really enjoyed that. That was actually one I'm definitely going to keep my eye on. What was it? I feel like there was another one now you said that.
Star Wars.
No, Star Wars.
Unravel 2.
And
Unravel 2. Yes, see, I did play the first. I did play the first one of that, but I didn't finish it. I'm interested to see because there's now two little yarn babies. I realise that's out now as well, actually already. So I might pick that up at one point, like if it's on sale or something. But yeah, Unravel and Sea of Solitude were definitely ones I will be watching. I mean, actually, Unravel maybe picking up. Sea of Solitude definitely watching.
Oh, you wouldn't pick up Sea of Solitude?
No, I would, but I meant because Unravel's already out, so it sounded weird.
Okay. Well, I personally thought that FIFA and NBA and Madden 19 all looked really, really good. They just looked great, so that was cool. Anthem was a mixture of a bunch of games that I feel like I've already played, so after waiting an entire year for E3 to get actual gameplay for it, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed by it. I felt like it was just something that I've seen before in Destiny and Mass Effect Andromeda. I don't know, I felt like it was just stuff that I've already seen. Cloud gaming, I think, is really interesting. It's not something for me because I don't game on my phone. It's just not something I do. But I think it'd be interesting to see what they are going to do with it. But Origin Access Premier, which is having all their PC games with a subscription and being able to play all of them. I personally just want to get that and get all the Sims DLC for free by paying once, if that's how that works. So, yay for the Sims. But that's pretty much it for EA for me. It was kind of the same as you guys. It was a lot of apologies for messing up before and looking to the future, which is always good. Speaking of looking to the future, next up is Microsoft, and Microsoft had a bunch of games for us. They gave us Halo Infinite in the beginning, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, Fallout 76, The Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit, Crackdown 3, Nier coming to the Xbox, Metro Exodus, we saw our first trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 there, we got Sea of Thieves, the expansions, Forza Horizon 4, we got the Xbox Initiative, which brought 3 studios in that they purchased, which included Undead Labs, Playground Games, and Ninja Theory, and Compulsion Games. We got We Happy Few, we got a PUBG expansion, Tales of Vesperia, Division 2, Xbox Game Pass update, which is going to include the Division, Fallout 4, and the Elder Scrolls Online. We got a crap ton of indie games. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we got our first look at E3 at the Microsoft press conference. We got Session, Black Desert, Devil May Cry 5, Cuphead DLC, Tunic, which was super cute, Jump Force 2019, Dying Light 2, Battletoads, Just Cause 4, Gears Pop, which is the mobile game, Gears Tactic, which is the PC game, I believe, and then Gears of War 5 coming out for the Xbox. And finally, they rounded out with Cyberpunk 2077. So, with all of that, let's go backwards. Toby, what did you think about Microsoft?
Yeah, I thought Microsoft did pretty good, actually. I'm not typically an Xbox gamer, or PC. So I quite like the look of nearly all of their games that you just listed. Definitely Captain Spirit, because I'm a big fan of Life is Strange. Captain Spirit, is that his name? I've just said it wrong.
No,
you said it right.
You said it right.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Yeah, Captain Spirit definitely looks good. Actually, I think that's coming out for PS4 as well anyway.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. So that's alright.
And it's free.
And it's free, yeah. What a good bonus. Like, a completely whole game for free. Not going to turn that one down. And then, what were the other ones again?
I know you like Ori and the Will of the Wisp.
Oh, yeah. Definitely Ori, literally. I'm so gutted that is an exclusive, though, because I played it on PC, the first one. And I don't have a gaming PC now, so it's going to be tough for me to find the means to play the sequel, and it's such a good game, the first one. Like, I would buy an Xbox just to play the sequel. However, if I had £1 million / 500 quid.
Toby, I did want to ask you about, before you finish, I did want to ask you what you thought about Tunic, which was the game with the fox that everyone said was basically Zelda.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think it looked really pretty good, yeah. I mean, they say imitation is the greatest form of flattery, so why not? I say it's quite a good little comparison. And I think it looked good, yeah. I like it looked quite cute, and that's always going to be a good thing for me. I gravitate towards those kind of games, and it looked good fun.
Christy, what did you think?
I mean, Microsoft had a good conference. They announced the games that sadly are mostly like third-party games that I know that will be released for the PS4, and so in the end, I felt like Microsoft, even though they had a good showing of games, I wish that they would have more exclusive games to showcase to convince me to like purchase an Xbox. There wasn't enough exclusive games, I think, to convince some people to purchase an Xbox, and so I'm kind of sad that they didn't use that. But then again, I guess it's good that they did a nice showing of all the third-party games. I was really surprised just to see Kingdom Hearts 3 with them announcing Frozen, just because I wasn't really expecting to see it at a Microsoft press conference, given how it's been mostly a Japanese RPG, and it has usually seen a showing at the Sony press conference. And then what I was really surprised about was just seeing Devil May Cry 5 being announced. I guess it's the worst kept secret, but I wasn't even aware that it was in development to begin with, which is pretty awful. But I think overall it's a good showing of games. It's a good showing of third-party games, which I'm excited to see coming to my PS4 that I will be buying on my PS4.
PS4, yes.
Sorry.
I think it's cool. I'm going to jump in really quick before I go to you, Brandon. Just because I share similar sentiments with Christy. Now, I do disagree. I think they did a pretty decent job at showing us some titles that are exclusive to Xbox. They do that weird thing where it's like exclusive, but then it's only a timed exclusive, or they're kind of iffy on saying whether it's actually exclusive to Xbox or if it's Xbox and PC or if it's just timed. So that's a little weird.
I got really confused on that. They did that with there was one the PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. They said that was an exclusive, and I was like, I'm sure this is out on PC or something else already.
It is, and I'm pretty sure it's coming to PlayStation. So I'm almost 100% sure it's coming to PlayStation later.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this an exclusive? It's already out. I don't get it.
But they did give us, Halo Infinite and Ori, and I was surprised by, like you said, Kingdom Hearts, but I was also surprised by Tales of Vesperia. The Division 2 looks so good, and I really want to play it. That was one that I thought
it does look really good, actually. Yeah, I did enjoy the gameplay.
A lot of the indies that they talked about, some of them were ones that we actually already have. So I was like, okay, that's a little weird because we've actually seen some of these already. Shadow of the Tomb Raider looks good aside from Lara's hair, which looks really bad, but whatever.
Wispy.
So bad. But Cuphead gets DLC and you get to play as the little girl Cup, and she's so cute. And I was like,
she looks so adorable.
Another exclusive. So I was like, okay, good. Jump Force, of course, isn't an exclusive, but that also looked really, really good. Tunic, I think, is an exclusive. I might be wrong, but I think it is.
I think it is.
And then they gave us Gears, which is, everyone's going to buy Gears. It looked really great, Gears of War 5. I thought it looked great. I thought Halo Infinite looked amazing as well. Not as good as what they showed off at PS4 Sony conference, but we'll get there. And Dying Light 2. I'm super excited for Dying Light 2. Was there anything else that I was, crazy for? So something that they mentioned that I didn't mention is that they were working on new hardware. And they made it sound as if there's more than one thing that they're working on right now. Because they said consoles, not console. And so they said they're working towards the future. And I think for Microsoft, that's exactly what they need. Because their right now is kind of bland. There's not really much to play. Like you said, Christy, I mean, anything on this list that I like, I'm gonna go buy on the PS4 before I buy it on the Xbox, because all my friends are on the PS4, because more people have a PS4, unless it's an exclusive.
Or like with Tales of Vesperia, you can buy it on the Switch.
Or I could buy it on the Switch, which I'm in love with my Switch now, so yeah, I could do that too. So, like you said, I think they need more, but I think with the acquiring of, Ninja Theory and Playground Games and Undead Labs, who have produced some really great games so far. They're looking towards the future, and I'm excited. I'm not ready for an Xbox 5 at all, or Xbox 2, or whatever they want to call it. I think it's way too early. I know it's already 4 or 5 years into the console's lifespan, but I still think, we just got the Xbox One X less than a year ago, and I know it's not, a brand new console, but it is the most powerful console right now, so I'm really, calm down, slow down, Microsoft. Let me save up enough money to get an Xbox One X before you make an Xbox 2 or whatever it is. But I am happy that they're looking to the future and they've acquired all of these studios just to, hopefully help them get back into gaming where they should be. And that's my rant, because like Chrissy said, I'm gonna buy everything on the PS4 anyway.
To jump in, I wish that they did not announce the Xbox One S and just only announce the Xbox One X. I felt like announcing the S, they kind of shot themselves in the foot, especially since it was like the S, and then after that a couple months later they announced the X, right?
Yeah, I think it was.
I felt that was a bad PR move, honestly, just because.
Hang on. So there's an Xbox One, an Xbox One S, and an Xbox One X.
Yes, and they just mentioned they're working on new hardware.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't know there was that many Xbox Ones.
And the X has not been out for a full year yet. It's been less than a year since the X.
So what's the difference between the S and the X?
Is
this the one that has, 4K native?
No, yes. The X has native 4K, whereas the S has upscaled 4K, I believe.
I think so. And so I wish that they would just... I get where they're trying to go with the S or the X and the One, but I wish that they picked one or the other, because I feel like there's too many Xbox Ones on the market right now, and I feel like they don't know which one they exactly want.
And to agree with you on that, I think they did a really bad job last year. This was my complaint about last year's E3, at explaining to us what the Xbox One X was and who it was for. Because they kind of just went on and they talked about it, and I was like, okay, I know nothing. I was like, okay, great. It's supposed to be the most powerful console, and it's supposed to make all my games look great, but I already have a PS4 Pro that does that. And they're like, okay, well, it's native 4K, not upscaled. And I was like, okay, well, what's the difference? Because if it looks the same, I just think they did a really bad job at explaining the difference between what these are. I know that the S is the nice 4K cheap model, and the X is like the super expensive best gaming console ever model, but you guys, they don't have games for me to play the X on anyway, when I could just buy a cheaper S and be happy with my 4K. But yeah, I agree. I think they did... there's too many, for one. I don't want to go spend more money on another one, because I bought the original, and then I went and bought an S just for the 4K, and now I kind of want an X just because I like new stuff. But no, it's too much money, and I don't know what the difference is. I can't even tell you. So no, I agree. But Brandon, what did you think?
What I think? So, a lot of the stuff that I liked and disliked about it, you guys more or less kind of touched on a whole lot of it. The games that I'm personally interested in are, multi-platform titles. And that's the weird thing, too. I want to say that Microsoft had one of the better E3 conferences, because they did. They showed off so many games. And a lot of them, there's a few of them that are exclusives, and, them announcing the initiative means that in the future, there's going to be a lot more exclusive games coming. So that's cool. But speaking specifically about the present, a lot of the games that I'm personally interested in, I'm just going to get for other platforms. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a big one for me. Tales of Vesperia, I might even just do that one on the Switch, to be perfectly frank. In addition, I was also really looking forward to Jump Force, because I love all those Shonen Jump animes and / manga. Those are awesome. Yeah, those are all multi-platform games. And to be fair, I watched the conferences and got super excited seeing all of those things. But, couldn't get them for other consoles. So, I'm optimistic about Microsoft's future. To be fair, like you said, with those new studios, especially Ninja Theory in particular, that they produce some real good games on that one. I think Microsoft in the future are really looking at some good games that are true exclusives, like Halo 6 and your Gears. those are like your two main ones for Xbox right now. But I'm optimistic that they'll have some more in the future. So eventually, I feel like maybe they'll be able to convince us all to go get Xbox Ones, maybe. But for now,
or their next hardware.
Yeah.
Right, that or their next hardware. But for now, I've got some good games to look forward to for my PS4 and Switch.
What I got from the Microsoft conference, great games to look for my other consoles.
Here.
I feel bad just saying that because I know that they can do better, but at the same time, it's like, but it's kind of true.
And they will. I have faith in them. I have faith in them. But this year, we'll see.
Another quick note is that I was talking to Marissa about this too, who was not excited, and she's an Xbox gamer. She was not excited about Halo Infinite or Gears of War 5 just because, she said it seems like it's the same thing that it was before. And I completely agree. I don't want, number 5 of Halo, number 5 of Gears of War, or, another Halo Infinite. I think, when are we gonna innovate to new Xbox titles that we can all look forward to? But having said all the crap I just said, I actually think they did a great job. Just because I think that E3 is all about, games and what we can look forward to. And they gave us so many, even if it's for, other consoles. Sony didn't give me all the stuff that I'm excited for at Microsoft. So, I still think that Microsoft did a great job.
I think it's quite interesting as well, speaking to different people as well, when you just touched upon there about how someone with an Xbox is not particularly excited from the Microsoft conference. I feel like a lot of people were excited about the different conferences for consoles they don't particularly own or play, which is it's quite interesting because, when we get onto other topics, it will make sense as to why that applies to me as well. But yeah, it's just strange when people are, because I thought Microsoft was pretty good as well.
Me too.
And I don't play Xbox at all.
I barely play mine. I completely agree with you. It was just so many games. I think that's what E3 is about, showing us new stuff, showing us what's coming next, and Microsoft did that. And I think for that, they get an A in my book. Because they showed me all the other stuff I'm going to play somewhere else, and I love it. So next up was Bethesda. They gave us Rage 2, the Elder Scrolls Legends trading card game, Elder Scrolls Online DLC, Doom Eternal, Quake Champions, Prey, Moon Crash DLC, Wolfenstein the Youngblood DLC, Wolfenstein Cyberpilot, Fallout 76, which is apparently going to be fully online, Fallout Shelter, which is coming to PS4 and Switch, which is out right now, Elder Scrolls Blades for the mobile, and Elder Scrolls 6 was teased. So, back to you, Brandon. What did you think?
So, as far as Bethesda, I'm going to talk about this objectively first, and then I'll give my personal thoughts. I think that if you're a big fan of Bethesda, this was a great conference for you. This was because here's the thing. Bethesda has been doing its own conference for a few years now, and the very first time they did it, they actually legitimately had a lot to announce, and it was a great time for Bethesda fans. But then they decided to keep doing conferences, and some years they just didn't have anything to show, and it just ended up being kind of a problem. But this year, no, they had a lot of stuff for Bethesda fans. Now, having also that, my personal thing, there's just not a lot of Bethesda games that I personally like. There's a lot of good ones like the Fallout and your Elder Scrolls, but for me, there just wasn't a whole lot that I'm personally interested in. I will say though that I do like that they really did for most of their games give a lot of they talked a lot about systems. Switch got a surprising amount of love at the Bethesda conference was the Fallout Shelter and such. But yeah, the one game that I think might be fun was that Elder Scrolls Blade game. What's that now?
Fallout Shelter. It's a bit of a watered down. It's not the best.
Yeah, I haven't even tried it myself. I don't really enjoy
Fallout Shelter. Well, I played it on my phone, so I didn't get on with it then, so I didn't even bother with the Switch. But I mean, I guess it's alright for people who haven't played it.
Yeah, I didn't even bother with my phone. Yeah.
No, for a free, you can't really turn a freebie away, I guess, so.
Right, you gotta try if it's free, I guess.
I mean, you gotta try it. You can't complain too much, can you? It's a free game.
Right. But yeah, no, Elder Scrolls Blades looks like it might be fun. I will give that a try when that comes out. And there's also that IP Starfield, which could be interesting, but all we got was like a proof of concept trailer. So I guess we'll look forward to that in future years. Yeah, that's me. That's Bethesda for me.
Chrissy, what did you think?
Well, I mean, I guess I should actually, try and play Skyrim or Elder Scrolls and or like Fallout now since we're doing this because I have no idea like what to really expect from these games. Although I guess because I am kind of big on mobile gaming as of late, I think the Elder Scrolls Blaze is interesting. It's an interesting idea, especially being able to play in portrait mode for some odd reason.
I thought that was cool, like because there's a lot of mobile games that will force you to play one or the other way, but having the option to go either or is a legitimately great thing for a mobile game to do.
It is. It's interesting, and I wonder like how it will work. Will people be able to? Will it just? Will you be able to like move your phone from like landscape to portrait, and then it will just like automatically assume, or how? Or is there like a setting that you can do? Overall, I mean, it looks interesting, but I guess we'll see if I actually download it because I'm running out of space on my phone
No.
and my iPad. But yeah, it seemed like they had a lot of good games to show for people, for like Bethesda fans, and the Elder Scrolls 6 was teased, which was interesting.
Toby, what'd you think?
This was one I also didn't catch, but I am also not much of a massively Elder Scrolls Fallout player either. So I'm sure what it was announced was fine, and it was great for all the players out there because it's really popular, but not that exciting for me personally.
For me, like I said, I think E3 is about new stuff, and I love when Bethesda gives me new stuff. And this year was just a lot of DLC for stuff that's already out. Which, I mean, I guess is cool if it's free, but usually it's not. So I'll end up having to pay for it.
I want to just to take it real quick because there's one thing that I absolutely love that they did in the Bethesda conference. Right before they were talking about Fallout 76, I believe it was right before that. It said it's a game that you've all been waiting for, Skyrim. And then I was like, wait, what? What else can you put Skyrim on? And then it was just a skit about how it's on Alexa now. Skyrim very.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
That was great. The fact that Bethesda finally had the guts to like make that self-referential humor is fantastic.
I think that their conferences are the best comedy-wise or, entertainment-wise. I think they're just really...
That is true.
But,
Okay, yes. Aside from Devolver, depending on tastes. I like watching them because I like what they show and what they say and what they do. They're entertaining. So even if it's not, a great year for them, personally, in my opinion. I am interested to see, what a fully online Fallout is going to be like, because I've played Fallout, and I have no idea that I want to play online with other people. So I'm interested to see, what it's going to be, and, it's cool to get some DLC for Wolfenstein, and co-op is always great. So yeah, I was like, okay, this is all nice for people who play.
Does it mean that you need to be online all the time to play Fallout 76?
Yep.
Which
I think so.
I have a problem with, but whatever.
I think that will probably have a few bumps, won't it? Have a few bumps in the ride.
What were you saying, Chrissy?
Going back to Fallout 76, I think it was a smart move for them just to say, hey, at the Microsoft conference, just to announce Fallout 76, but not release that many details about it. So that way people would tune into their conference.
Okay, because I remember watching it and I was like, why is this here? You guys are literally coming on in like an hour.
But then it was a really smart move because I guess many wouldn't have known, or many wouldn't have tuned in.
You think so?
So who knows?
I feel like that was the one thing that people would have watched for. And then I actually disagree with you because I think that's the one thing they would have watched for, and then seeing it at Microsoft, I mean, I don't know that I would have watched it again after seeing that trailer. Or, you're right. I mean, some people would be like, oh yeah, I want more information. Let me watch the Bethesda conference. But I don't know. I feel like people were already ready for Fallout 76 at Bethesda, and then they were caught off guard at Xbox. Or at least I was. That's just me, though. Who knows?
Who knows?
But next up was Square Enix.
What do we talk about Square?
I have things to say, and I think a lot of people disagree with me. But anyway, there was Shadow of the Tomb Raider again. We got a bigger, in-depth look at Shadow of the Tomb Raider. There was Stormblood, Final Fantasy XIV's Under the Moonlight patch, which is out right now. The crossover between Final Fantasy XIV and Monster Hunter. We got more information on Captain Spirit, Dragon Quest XI. We got a Brave Exvius collaboration, Babylon's Fall, which was new, made by Platinum Games. A reminder that Nier Automata is coming to Xbox. Octopath Traveler, Just Cause 4, The Quiet Man, which was new, and another Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer. Christy, what did you think about it?
The Square Enix conference was, I don't know, it was one of those things where it's like, you didn't have enough games to really announce, and these could have been announced as like between Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, you could have announced all your games. You didn't really need a small showcase just to show some of the trailers. Although it was interesting to me that they would have another Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer that was almost a rehash of the Microsoft, with announcing Frozen as its own world, but also showing Remy from Ratatouille as either a mini game or something else that we do not know what he is going to be there for. Although The Quiet Man does look interesting, along with Babylon's Fall.
Yay.
I'm interested just to see, but The Quiet Man, it feels weird that they would show a teaser trailer or a teaser announcement of the game, but they're telling us to stay tuned for August. It feels kind of weird to me, but then again, they may be like, meh.
So, speaking of The Quiet Man really quick, I was like, oh, what's this? But I think I'm just so used to seeing the transition between CGI and real-life animation just going so seamlessly together that when I saw it in The Quiet Man, I was like, oh, this is difference. Like, I could tell that this was no longer, real life. Like, once it went to the game, I was like, ooh, I am accustomed to not seeing that. So that was a little bit of a put off for me. And then the combat was kind of basic. So I was like, I don't know if this whole game is just going to be, centered around the one thing, which is that, he can't hear. So I was like, okay, well, that mechanic is going to be cool, but aside from that, it kind of just looks like a game from 2 years ago. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah, it does. I am surprised that they didn't have more stuff about Octopath Traveler, and I'm really surprised that they didn't even say anything about The World Ends With You. I was expecting for them to at least have like a small trailer saying, "Hey, we're releasing this for the Switch
Especially it's so popular.
This time." Yeah, it's like I don't know. I felt like Square Enix, they could have done better, but they kind of fell a bit flat to me.
Dang. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Brandon, what did you think?
Yeah, a lot of what I have to say about it is very similar to what Chris said. It was less of a conference and more of a showcase, really, because there was very few announcements to be even gleaned from this. I guess, Babylon's Fall and Quiet Man were pretty much your announcements, really, but otherwise it was just kind of like talking about stuff that, hey, this stuff is coming out. If you didn't catch it, here's a reminder that it is. Like, the Octopath thing, of course, there was really no new information about that. It's just a reminder that, hey, this is coming. 8 heroes, get hyped, right? But that's pretty much it. The fact that World Ends With You was crazy because that's like, I don't know if I would define it as popular per se, but it's a pretty big RPG for the DS that's being remade for the Switch, and the fact that it got no screen time at Square Enix's own conference at all, it's a bit weird. Yeah. Ratatouille's in Kingdom Hearts 3, cool. There's not a whole lot to really go on. And Dragon Quest XI looks cool too. I like Dragon Quest, but like that's coming out for the Switch eventually. so they really only had the PS4 date to give, and that's cool. But I'm probably just gonna wait for the Switch version, to be honest. Yeah, Square Enix's was kind of disappointing. They could have really just shown a lot more, and they didn't. They just showcased, I guess, what they wanted, and that was pretty much it. The fact that they even went to the trouble of having their own really suggests that there was going to be more there, and then there kind of wasn't. It would have been better if, like Chrissy said, they just had a lot of these announcements sprinkled into like everybody else's conferences. There probably would have been less expectation at that point, but yeah, that's Square.
Truth be told, I was honestly surprised that they didn't even mention anything about their upcoming Final Fantasy 15 DLC. Like
that's true. I didn't
the
even
next
think about
episodes
that.
with Aranea, Luna,
You're right.
Arden,
Ooh,
somebody else. I was really surprised, but also it could have been a good time for them to at least mention the Final Fantasy VII remake.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 remake. So I would have agreed with you about 2 days ago, but I talked to a friend about it. The Final Fantasy VII remake is like a huge, and this is also a problem with the Square Enix showcase, but Final Fantasy VII remake is such a big deal that would probably go on like the big stage, like Sony or Microsoft, and that just demonstrates.
The thing is that we haven't heard anything about it, and if Sony wasn't going to show it this year, oops, sorry. But at least like make it something like, oh yeah, we're still working on this game. It's just like
agree with Christy.
It was just forgotten.
I think if you're not going to mention it at your big thing, I completely agree. Throw it in there like, hey, we're still, this is still a thing.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Like, maybe not a trailer, but a mention that, hey, this is still happening would have been something. Just because, when did that get announced? Wasn't that 2013 or 2014 that they
It was announced the same time as Kingdom Hearts 3, I feel like.
It was either 14 or 15. Because I was there, guys! I was there, and it was awesome!
I'm sure there was a big pop out for that, yeah.
It was crazy. Inside that theater was crazy.
Yeah. It was a cool announcement at the time, but just not a lot has come of it yet, and hopefully we see some soon. But yeah.
It's been like over 3 years at this point.
Sure has.
I mean, granted, I heard that I guess they released, as a nicer way of saying it, their contractors, so they're behind 6 months worth of like work and whatnot, so who knows? I mean, hopefully we hear something about it on like TGS or maybe, who knows?
Like the theme for this year's conferences could be not acknowledging big games people are expecting and just ignoring them, pretending they don't exist.
Oh boy,
that definitely happened with someone else.
Later,
I'm not going there.
Yes.
Oh, but we'll get there. We'll get there eventually.
It was
not yet.
June 15th, 2015.
Oh boy.
So 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
But
I can't believe that's how long ago that was announced. Like, I literally feel like it was yesterday.
No, it was announced.
Really weird.
So was Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yep.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts I understand, but then I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like Final Fantasy VII was like only last year or the year before, but clearly not.
Well, they did give us like a little bit of information after it was announced. I think into 2016. Could be wrong, but I think so. But Toby, what did you think about Square?
Yeah, pretty much similar. They just showed a really short, half an hour's worth of trailers, so it was more of kind of like a Nintendo Direct style presentation.
Oh yeah, it's like, not to cut you off, but yeah, if this was like a Square Enix Direct, I think this would have been a really good one. But considering that it's in the E3 showcase, yeah,
Yeah, it was like a bit lacking in like Christy said, they didn't have enough to show off, and then the Babylon's Fall and the Quiet Man I thought looked decent enough. Although I'm kind of skeptical about these types of games that use real life combined with non-real life, because I don't know how I feel about that. And there's a few that I've seen do it, like there's the Bunker that have used all footage, and then there's a couple on the Switch that I've seen. And I just don't know if I like it. I feel like I want it to be a game where it's not real, and although it can have really good graphics and look real, I can still know it's not real. I don't want actors, people. I just feel like it's weird, but I like the concept of him being deaf. Other than that.
So, contrary to you guys, I think that it was a Square Enix Direct, and I'm totally fine with that because they don't have Directs, and I liked it. I do think it was lacking a little bit, but I don't see where these games could have been showed off anymore, and I think that's why I'm okay with it being a little Square Enix Direct, because Shadow of the Tomb Raider is not getting any extra time at Microsoft because, I mean, Microsoft has a bunch of other stuff to show off. We already know Sony isn't doing it because Sony's like, hey, we have our big four and a few announcements in between, and that's it. And that's the same thing for Final Fantasy XIV Monster Hunter crossover. Oh my god! I'm super excited for that because I played both of those games. I was like, oh crap, this is great. Yes, that could have been, announced anywhere else, but I'm okay with it being a part of a little Square Enix Direct at E3. Dragon Quest 11, I think the same thing. Brave Exvius. Babylon's Fall, I actually went through that trailer. There's so much lore in that trailer. I'm so excited for that game. I love Platinum Games. They make great games. Like, I am
They do.
reeling to
That is
get more
true.
information on that.
I don't find it.
I will say I was expecting more about Octopath, like we all were, and we got none. But I also will go back to what I said about Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I think it's the same thing with Just Cause 4. I have no idea where else you're going to show this type of information at. Because, like I said, you're not going to get it squeezed into Xbox, and you're not going to get it from Sony. And then I agree with you, The World Ends With You. Since they did that, 5 seconds of it in Nintendo, they could have definitely, went forward and done some more in Square Enix. So I kind of agree with you guys, but I also think it's okay. I think what they did was pretty decent. I don't mind a Square Enix Direct, as opposed to having nothing at all. I would take that.
Drew, hearing you say that, I actually think you might be right. I think the real problem was probably our expectations were a bit too high.
Yeah,
because you're right. At the end of the day, it really was just a showcase. It wasn't really meant to be like a conference. It wasn't a conference. It was just a bunch of trailers presented in kind of like a long form, similar to a Nintendo Direct. And yeah, because during E3, there's many games that get new trailers or get announced that aren't part of conference. Like Team Sonic Racing got its own separate trailer by itself because there was no Sega conference or it wasn't part of anything like that. It's just Square Enix for one announcement. Yeah, so I think you are right. I think maybe it's just because our expectations were expecting conference level blowouts, and when in reality it was a showcase. But
I think I would have liked it better if it was done before E3. I think that's my biggest issue, was that it was just squeezed into the week of E3, and it's, I guess, going off, I was expecting more than what we got.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe that's where maybe I needed to lower my expectations, I guess. I guess.
I can kind of agree with you too, Christy. I think that had they gone before Microsoft, but after EA, but before Bethesda, I think it would have been fine. I think it was just the placement.
Another really tricky placing.
Yeah.
Maybe the Friday or the Saturday before the press conference would have been better.
Yeah,
just be hey, we're doing this thing, this small little showcase of our games that are upcoming. Stay tuned for more details.
Yeah, I agree. That could have been done. But I think, personally, if they went after EA, everyone would have been fine with it because we would have gotten the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer before Microsoft. And everybody was like, wow, EA's just a bunch of apologizing anyway, so nobody cares. And then the same thing with Bethesda. It was like, oh, okay, this is just a bunch of, Bethesda stuff, so you gotta be a fan. I think if they went in between there, or like you said, on the weekend before, or at least before Microsoft, I think it would have been much better. I think it was just a placement issue, because Microsoft was like, here's all the shit. And then so Square Enix was like, oh, hey, here's the stuff you already know about, and 2 that you don't. But hey, we're still here. So I completely
get it.
Guys!
Sorry we don't have 7 ready for you guys yet.
But here's some DLC and a new look at our other games. I get that, but I also think they just took a lot of hate, a lot of undeserved hate.
It was.
They showed off.
Yeah, I agree with the undeserved hate. I mean, there are a lot of things that I saw that I'm like, they did not deserve that.
Yeah, it was
really
lacking? Rough.
Yes, it was lacking, but they did not deserve that. At least they tried.
I mean, this is what happened to Nintendo, and that's why we have directs and pre-recorded videos now, because everybody was super harsh. And this is what you get, so... Anyway, next up was Ubisoft, and we got Just Dance 2019, Beyond Good and Evil 2, Rainbow Siege 6, Trials Rising, Division 2, more Mario Cross Rabbids DLC, Skull and Bones, Transference, Starlink, Battle for Atlas, For Honor, The Crew 2, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Toby, go. What'd you think?
Yeah, I quite like Ubisoft's. I don't really care for the Assassin's Creed series, but I know a lot of people do, so that's fine. And loads of people were excited. I was, of course, my favourite bit was when the Rabbids announcement happened and they had the beautiful music playing and the orchestra.
Yes.
That was so
that
much
was
fun.
nice.
I enjoyed
I
that.
love Grant Kirkhope's music, and that was beautiful the way they orchestrated it.
It was really nice. And then I was trying to, when I was watching it, I was trying to think, well, this can't be a sequel because it's like not even a year old. So I was glad it was DLC and not like a new game, because I really need to catch up with the Mario and Rabbids series as a whole. Yeah. What was the other things they said announced?
Beyond Good and Evil 2, Just Dance 2019.
Definitely. Yeah. No, Just Dance. No, sorry, we've had about 50 of them. They're just the same.
Stop it!
Don't need any of them. I don't mind playing it in a group, but I would never get excited about Just Dance. Sorry.
I was excited because I finally knew the songs this year.
No, they always have at least a couple that you know, surely. They're like chart popular songs that people like don't want to listen to but have to anyway because they're played so much. But yeah, no, You'd Be on Good and Evil, definitely. I'm glad we got to see more cinematic gameplay, but cinematic trailer, but no actual gameplay again.
No, we did. We got some gameplay. I mean, it was like really pre-alpha early stages.
Oh yeah, there wasn't there? Yeah, they did show some pre-alpha gameplay. That's true. But yeah, it does look really great. It like, and I was funny enough, I was talking to someone whilst watching it, and I was saying, I wonder if Jade's in this one. And then literally, as we were saying it went to the part where you saw Jade at the end. Yeah. We're like, oh, Jade is in it. Jade's in it. But yeah, so that I'm excited for Beyond Good and Evil, and I want to know where they're going to go with that, because obviously the first one was so long ago, and this one looks so different to the first, just because of technology, and obviously they were probably a lot limited back in the day, obviously more. So it's good to see like an updated, just reimagining, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought they did all right. Ubisoft, they were probably like my second favourite.
Wow, that's high on the list.
Wow.
Actually, no, third favourite. Yeah.
Christy, what'd you think?
I mean, they had a good showing. I guess I should play more Ubisoft games too. Oopsies. I mean, I played the second Assassin's Creed game because my friend, he was like, oh yeah, you can totally skip the first one. They fixed everything in the second one. Played that and I'm lost somewhere in Assassin's Creed 2. I'll figure out where I'm supposed to be going soon, hopefully. But I mean, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it looks interesting. I always say that with all the Assassin's Creed game, and then I never pick it up. I'm so sorry. But the Mario and Rabbids DLC, I'm interested to see. It looks good. So that may be a DLC I actually pick up. And then I think the Starlink battle with Star Fox for the Switch, honestly, I probably wouldn't be picking it up, but because they're adding Star Fox, I may be picking it up for the Switch.
Yes!
But that's all I have to say.
Oh gosh, Brandon, go ahead. I feel like you have something to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and piggyback off that real quick. So, well, I guess mine's slightly different because they did reveal Starlink last year, and I remember being intrigued by its concept where you have the ships that rest on top of your controller, and they were being smart as show.
Sorry, it was really ugly on the PS4 controller.
It did on the PS4 one. No, yeah. It looked way better on like the Switch controller because it kind of had that flat surface.
Yeah.
But I digress. Yeah, no, I thought the concept was interesting that you had these pieces that you put together. But aside from my initial interest last year, I really didn't like look into it too much. And like it was being shown this year again. It's like, oh yeah, that one game with the stuff that you put in the control, that's cool. I was kind of like writing notes down at the time, so I wasn't like really paying attention. But my nephew happened to be there, and he was like, I didn't look up, and then like, what? I saw like the green thing, like the green thing that Fox wears on his, and I was like, wait, that's not, is it? And then I saw the Star Fox logo, and I just yelled. I was like, what is that? So that inspired me to like pay way more attention to this game, and like my initial was like, I'm gonna get this game now. I was like, wait, hold on, let me be a sane adult and actually look and see if I like this game. It has Star Fox, but let me see if I like it. But it did get my interest, like legitimately. Like after looking at gameplay, it's very intriguing. You know, you get a ship that you put on each controller, and in real time, when you take pieces off, it actually changes the guns and wings. You can put it in different ways to give your ship different maneuverability and all that kind of stuff.
That looks super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Just going in on the back of you there, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're
totally
fine.
Yeah,
like,
that looks awesome.
Like, I'm worried a bit expensive, but I just love the idea that like it's the same reason why I love collecting the amiibos, because besides the fact that they're just cool figures to have, I love that they have access in games, and this is kind of piggybacking that same idea where they're toys that just look cool and then they have functionality in the game too, and I think that's so much fun. So I'm definitely looking forward to it a lot more than I was before. Other than that, Ubisoft, you know, again, like Toby said, Mario Rabbids A+, that looks really cool. I love Donkey Kong, all that cool stuff. But surprisingly, the one that was really grabbing me was the Skull and Bones game. I've always been fascinated with like these like pirate stories and such, and I've been looking for like a game that kind of like adequately puts that like portrays that. Aside from Assassin's Creed 4, because I feel like I have a lot of stuff to catch up on to like really appreciate that game. But this one, yeah, no, it looks fun. Like you're going to like pirate stuff, and I want to see more of it still because I'm not completely sold. But the more I see of it, the more I'm interested in. So yeah, looking nice.
Skull and Bones certainly looked like one that it obviously reminded me of Sea of Thieves, but it looked nicer.
But because
I don't like the look of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Sea of Thieves looks fun, but I was like, but this one is a little more of a grittier take, which is weird. I'm more into like cartoony stuff, but for some reason, the style of Skull and Bones is grabbing me. Don't know what it is.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, I love cartoony stuff, but I just think Sea of Thieves looks awful. It just looks hideous.
Oh
like
gosh!
I wouldn't say it's hideous.
Oh, it hurts.
Deep cuts.
Sorry, I'm sorry. I didn't know you guys even played it.
I do.
I haven't.
I don't.
Do you? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I don't know. I just don't like. Yeah, I just don't like the way they look. They look moldy.
It's fine. Whatever. For me, Ubisoft, I thought Assassin's Creed Odyssey looked good, and I think that all the creators always put a lot of passion into it, and it's just super cute, and yeah, that's it.
Looks great. I like Greek mythology.
I mean, I'm interested as to the open invitation community collaboration for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was cool, but at the same time, it felt weird.
You think so?
I don't know how they're going to like filter that as well. Like, it's going to be so difficult to actually get your stuff in. I feel the amount of people that are going to apply or contribute.
And then Skull and Bones, I loved when they showed it last year. This year, when they got more in depth with it, I was like, oh no, this is way too complicated. I don't want to play anymore. Like, this is way too much. Last year I was like, oh, this is cool. This year I was like, this looks like a lot going into fighting a ship, and I'm not down for it, so pass it on. It was just, it was good. I guess I also need to play more Ubisoft games, because I'm just looking forward to Beyond Good and Evil 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but that's literally it for me from that entire list, so, Oh, and The Division 2, but, whatever. So next up was Sony. My favorite is always usually Sony, but we'll get there. So they gave us The Last of Us 2, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 for free on PS Plus. Tetris, Twin Mirror, Ghost Giant, Beat Saber. We got all of those before E3, actually. We got some information on Destiny 2. Then their other big one was Ghosts of Tsushima. We got Control. We got the Resident Evil 2 remake. We got Trevor Saves the Universe. We got a brand new Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer with PS4 Pro and a bundle announced with all 3 games for the PlayStation. We got a lot of Death Stranding, we got Neo 2, and then we got a bunch of Spider-Man at the end. Brandon, what'd you think?
I quite like Sony's conference for the most part. So they did an interesting thing for the audience where they started off in like this tent, and people were wondering, why are we in a tent? And then it just happened to be in the same area where Last of Us 2 is, or at least the gameplay demo. I thought that was super cool. The downside was for the the viewer audience, much like us, who after that had to wait for a long period of time for them to get to the actual theater for the rest of the conference. It was a bit of a lull. But that aside, as far as like the conference itself, this one, and I'm sure you're going to be talking about this yourself in a bit, Jarrell, and I'll let you do that. But yeah, there was not a lot of new stuff really announced in this conference. This was mainly like, we got 4 games that we want to focus on, and that's going to be it. There's a few other little stuff here and there, but that was pretty much their thing. I guess if I had to nitpick one thing is like, I wish more of these games had actual dates. Like a lot of them were just, you had your extended gameplay. Last of Us 2 is looking great. Like I'm really excited for that game. Really excited. Death Stranding continues to confuse me and wow me at the same time as it does. Ghost of Tsushima, now that we've actually seen some gameplay, looks amazing. Like, yeah, all 3 of those games look great. I just wish I had a better idea of when they were coming, but, that's neither here nor there. Neo 2 got announced. I never played the original Neo, but I always wanted to, and I might still do. But Neo 2 looks more of that, but better, I suppose. RE2 Remake is, I can't believe they finally had the trailer for it. Like, I have a question for you guys. Did you guys know that this was being announced? Was that a surprise to anyone? Like, I feel like it was leaked somewhere.
I heard rumors about it, but then I forgot about it. And then so when it was announced, I was really surprised.
I think it was the same for me. Like, I think Grayson had said something about it at some point.
He might have.
And I was like, eh. And then when it came on, I was like, oh, hey, so it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So, but either way, it was nice. It was nice to see it. It was a cool trailer. I'll probably be checking it out. The third Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer for the conference, like, whew, boy, Kingdom Hearts 3 is really coming to have like not one but like 3 trailers. The past years we didn't get even like a single one.
It's crazy.
I know it's a different world we live in now, and I'm excited for that game finally comes out. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I was secretly hoping that it was going to be in Kingdom Hearts 3 because I wanted them to cover the 2 other sequels for Pirates because I enjoyed those movies a lot.
And they're going to. At least I think. Because of the characters that were shown.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be covering both Dead Man's Chest and at World's End. That's where it seems to be going. So I'm definitely looking forward to a nice boss fight with Davy Jones. Hopefully the Kraken 2, fingers crossed, but probably not. Yeah, that's looking good. I'm shocked about that PS4 Pro. I need that Pro. Hopefully pre-orders.
Oh my gosh, me too. It's so beautiful.
I know.
Like, that was the game that was going to get me to get a Pro, and I would just love to get that one for it, but we'll see what happens with that. And hey, yeah, if you're someone who's never gotten into Kingdom Hearts, guess what? Like Jarrell said, there's a bundle that's coming out that's going to have all the 2 collections that had been previously released, which in total has like, what is that, 9 games in that already?
Oh my gosh, so many.
4 games and 2 cinematic movies.
Right, yeah, no, you're right. It's 6 games and 3 cinematic movies based on games that were previously released, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 itself. So what you're looking at is like 10 stories.
The entire series, basically.
For $100, which is actually pretty good. With the fact that you're getting so much.
Exactly. 7 games and 3 movies for $60. That's or $100. Sorry, that's crazy. That's like $10 per game. That's nuts. So yeah, if you haven't jumped on the series, like that's probably a good time to do it. The last thing I'm going to talk about Sony is Spider-Man. I'm super excited for that game. We have someone else in the website, and his name is Nolan, who predicted this storyline of how all the villains were getting involved. He was completely right. I'm so happy like how the story is like turning out. Like And I'm glad that they gave the most time to that one because that's the one that's coming out the soonest. It's like coming out 3 months from this recording, so that's cool. And yeah, Sony was pretty cool. Wish, like you said, like you're going to say, Terrell, wish there was some more like new announcements or some dates. But for the gameplay they showed, I'm happy.
I'm gonna go ahead and just talk really quick about Sony.
Please do that.
I always look forward to Sony at E3. It is my, oh my gosh, like it's my big thing. It's the one that I always want to see. And I found myself thinking, quality over quantity. And I think that Sony had the quality because, oh my gosh, The Last of Us 2, like I saw her pick up a dagger with no problem. Like it was a movie. That game was a movie and it looked amazing. Same thing with Ghost of Tsushima, like everything was just so beautiful.
It looked gorgeous.
But I have the biggest issue with focusing on 4 games. I don't like that. Because, like I said before, I think E3 is supposed to be big. It's supposed to be about new announcements. I'm wanting to see all the things I can look forward to. Of the big 4 that they focused on, only one of them has a release date, and that's coming out this year, and that is Spider-Man. I have no information about The Last of Us 2. I have no information about Ghost of Tsushima, and I have no idea about Death Stranding. And yet, we spent so much time on them. Honestly, I think it was ridiculous because Microsoft gave me over 50 games. Sony gave me, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll count Kingdom Hearts even though I saw it like twice. 7, 8, 9 games. And, half of them don't have release dates. What am I, as a Sony gamer, supposed to do with that? What does my future look like based on the E3 presentation that I just saw? At this point,
I'm hoping that Persona 5 holds us over.
Right? And like we said before, there was no mention of Final Fantasy VII, something that, we've been waiting on for 3 years. This was the time to say, hey, it's a thing. And, of course, we were looking for Kingdom Hearts 3. They gave us the best presentation with the brand new trailer, the Pro, the bundle, all that. That's all great. But I've already seen this game twice. I want new. I want more. And I got nothing. I got really cool looking stuff that doesn't have a release date. I have a future that who knows what's coming. Oh, I guess I'll find out at the Microsoft press conference, which I shouldn't have to. But, I mean, based on just watching this, there's more over at Microsoft for me than there was at Sony that's coming out this year, next year, or in my immediate future. And that, to me, was such a disappointment. I'm done. What'd you think, Christy?
I mean, picking back off of what you said about Kingdom Hearts 3, I was happy to see that a new world was announced, along with like the PS4 and the bundle for all 3 games. I felt like with Microsoft, they really got shafted with Kingdom Hearts 3 because they can't even have a starting point to start the game series on. I don't think that they're announcing a collection like the 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8. I don't think those are coming over to Microsoft. I think they're going to be staying Sony exclusive, which I feel bad for the Microsoft people because I'm like, how are you supposed to play it? Are they thinking that you're going to be getting a PS4, or is that part of the thing? Who knows? But going off with what Jarrell said, I mean, they showed a lot of great games, but there weren't that many release dates. Like, I'm interested in Resident Evil 2. That remake is not coming out until 2019. Kingdom Hearts 3, that's not until 2019. Yep. The only game that I'm looking forward to in 2018 from Sony is the Spider-Man. That's about it.
Yeah.
Real that's what I feel like. It's like just Spider-Man, along with like my backlog of other games.
You're not wrong.
But
real quick, just wanted to point out because you mentioned the RE2 date. Those games are coming. RE2 remake and Kingdom Hearts 3 coming out like almost. Are they coming out? They're coming out the same day, aren't they?
They're coming
4 days apart. The 25th and the 29th.
The funny thing is that for Resident Evil 2, it's coming out on the same date as the Japanese release date of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh.
So, newsflash, Kingdom Hearts 3 in Japan will be released on January 25th of 2019. But for the West, it will be released on January 29th. I will be importing Kingdom Hearts 3 so that way I can play it before people. Unless they're
And I'll be waiting until Tuesday.
Same here.
But yeah, it's for us. It's like 3-4 days apart. So
I know, but with 15, I got lucky and I got it the weekend of the release date week, which was great because I got to play it on like Saturday.
Oh gosh, that's amazing. We're supposed to have to play on a weekday because they hate us.
I know. I'm taking my...
Who releases a game on a weekday?
Everybody,
and
every Tuesday for some reason. Why, y'all? Do it on a Friday. Like, give me the weekend.
I don't know what. People used to come out on a Friday. I don't know what's happening.
This is why people call out on. This is why people out on Tuesdays because the big games come out and they don't want to miss it. Like for the Dude Bro gamers, Tuesdays the Tuesday when a Madden comes out, everyone's calling out because they want to play Madden.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same kind of deal.
Toby, what did you think?
I feel so bad.
How am I supposed to follow that? I thought.
Well, at least with this one, I've been convinced I need a PS4 Pro after seeing The Last of Us.
Okay, yes. I will say it was beautiful. Everything I saw was beautiful. I know I sound like a hater, but that's just because I love Sony so much.
Yeah, you're so dedicated to them.
And
you expected more.
Yeah, it was just such a disappointment, but like that was my quality over quantity thing. I mean, overall, this looked great. I would still go with the PS4 Pro and The Last of Us 2 and Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding and Kingdom Hearts 3 and Spider-Man all on a PS4 Pro before I even looked at the Xbox games, like 100%. But still, Xbox beat Sony for me, which is heart-wrenching. Okay, I'm done. Go ahead, Toby.
Yeah, I thought Sony did good. I didn't mind. I liked what they showed, but then I can see why having no release dates or any release windows for any of those games would be slightly annoying. I'm really interested in Death Stranding still, until I know what the hell is going on with Babies in a Jar and why the hell there's weird invisible death monsters trying to chase them, who that woman is, what the hell's going on. You literally don't know anything.
Oh, man.
I need to know more, which I guess is why they keep showing being very vague about it, because it keeps people interested. And yeah, Last of Us 2, can't wait for that. I really enjoyed that gameplay trailer. Definitely gave me Tomb Raider Lara Croft reboot vibes though, when you saw her mashing down the people. She was like brutal, literally like, oh my god, what's happened to you?
Yeah.
But yeah, as a whole, I didn't think Sony did too badly. I'm quite excited for quite a few of their games as well. Also, not owning a PS4, but I can play PS4 because my other half has one, so I just play his.
Like, just there was more games talked about that are coming out this year at the Square Enix press conference that everybody complained about than there were at the Sony.
That is
one.
True.
Like, do y'all realize that? Like, this is...
That is very true.
I'm not happy about this. And then the ones that they mentioned leading up to the press conference were a bunch of VR games, which, like, cool. I'm not knocking VR, but, you know, Xbox is telling me about their future. We're working on hardware. We're acquiring studios. Like, yeah, this isn't now, but right now, here's, like, 80 games you can play at the moment. PS4 is like, yeah, so no new hardware, no new nothing. Here's games that you've already heard about, because I already heard about The Last of Us, I've already heard about Death Stranding, I've already heard about Kingdom Hearts, I've already heard about Spider-Man. We learned about these already last year. This isn't new. This is literally, hey, here's more information on that stuff you already knew about from last year, but you still don't get the information that you're waiting for. I won't even be mad about release windows. Tell me what I'm looking forward to. But the fact that, like Christy said, I mean, we have Spider-Man.
We do.
Spider-Man looks awesome.
Else is like 2019.
That's it, though. We have Spider-Man, guys. Like, I am so happy I have a Switch right now, because this is clearly the year of catch-up for me. Because I just need to play catch-up with all the other games I have and stop complaining, I guess, so it shouldn't be too bad. But... to me, Sony had been the pioneers of E3 for the past couple of years. Since the PS4 has been doing so well, they come with exclusive after exclusive. Horizon Zero Dawn, Persona 5, God of War. Like these are games that they showed off at E3 that are coming, and I'm like, holy shit! Yes, this is why I am a Sony fanboy. And then this year it was just like, hey, here's some more info on that stuff you heard about last year. So everybody who complains about Square Enix should also be complaining about Sony. Done. I'm done.
Swings and roundabouts. I guess everyone has to have their down days, or less so. They can't always be on top.
I know, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm just so disappointed. Okay, all right, I'm done. I'm mad.
I feel you're disappointed.
I'm so done. Though.
I know. I wish that they would announce
now for when we're going to talk about next.
I know that you feel me, Toby.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
So, next up is Nintendo, which rounded out the show. They gave us Daemon X Machina, Xenoblade Torna the Golden Country, Super Mario Party, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Fortnite on the Switch, Overcooked 2, Killer Queen Black, Hollow Knight, more Octopath, a little bit of The World Ends With You, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that was it. And we are going to have another podcast about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so we're not going to go too deep into that right now for this one, so just so listeners know. But yeah, Toby, as the Nintendo
Please don't start
guy,
with me.
You don't want to start? Okay, cool. Brandon,
Don't start with me.
As the other Nintendo guy, what did you think, Brandon?
Okay. So after really critically thinking about it, I do. At the end of the day, I did like the Nintendo press conference. Like, I won't say I didn't. But I definitely do see Toby's point of view, which he'll go into detail, I'm sure, when his turn comes up.
Oh yes, I will.
Oh yes, he will. Yes, he will. But I was happy with it. Again, we're not going deep into Smash Brothers. That's definitely the most I have to say. But stay tuned for our Smashcast listeners. Otherwise, Daemon X Machina looks interesting. And I'm glad that they started off with that because everyone knew what was coming in the this Nintendo Direct. They knew that Smash was coming, and almost everyone expected it was going to be the last big announcement, which it was. So to start off with something that no one's ever heard of and, looks pretty cool, I think that was definitely a good move on their part. It looks interesting. They even had a little treehouse in it that showed you a little bit of the gameplay. It looks interesting. It's definitely early. We'll see more as we go forward. Xenoblade is getting a large expansion, which is crazy. That is going to be
new story content too.
And let me also just really quick, because I did forget to mention that we're getting Dragon Ball FighterZ on the Switch, and they also talked about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. So sorry, continue.
Cool, thank you. So yes, that's a standalone expansion that's like a prequel to the main game. You don't even need the full game to play it. I think that's pretty cool. Fire Emblem 3
Houses. Pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Fire Emblem 3 Houses finally got a trailer after being announced early last year. Like, I've been waiting for anything to know about this game, and to have a trailer that looks so good. It looks a lot like the Telly's games, where, if people who don't know, those were the GameCube and Wii respectively Fire Emblem games. A lot of different soldiers. You'll have another Avatar character that's going through 3 houses. Don't know if it's going to be a Fate style story where you use multiple storylines or whatever, or if they're all just going to be integrated. It's still super early, but I'm definitely excited for that. I'm so excited for a Fire Emblem game that's console quality but can also be taken everywhere. Yeah, like Jarrell said, Fighters is coming to Switch. I'm happy about that. I really am. I don't know if I'm going to be getting it though, because I've already invested so much time and money into the PS4, and there's almost no way there's going to be transfers. So I don't know, maybe if they ever do a special bundle for the Switch that has all the DLC, maybe I'll get it just so I can take it anywhere. But until then, I mean, if you don't have Fighters already and you have a Switch, that's thumbs up. Not talking about Smash. So the last thing I will mention is Super Mario Party. I'm so excited for this one.
Oh my gosh, me too.
It looks so good.
Oh my god, I'm such a huge Mario Party fan. I own literally every single Mario Party,
yes.
the good ones and the bad ones. I won't go because that's controversial. I don't want to get into that. But the point is, is going into the more traditional gameplay that's seen in 1 through 8, which is the one that I fell in love with, along with some of the new stuff that the new one's doing. Like, it's doing a nice mix of what was good about the originals, while also some of the new good quality of life features that the new one's adding. I think that's really cool. And it's perfect on Switch, because now finally we have a Mario Party that can be taken anywhere and your console. So, that was always the bad part of the 3DS ones, where it was nice you could take them anywhere, but you got to get multiple people 3DS just to play it, and it was kind of counterproductive. But that's not a problem with this one.
You kind of got to do the same thing with this one, but okay.
Not really, because if you play it as a console game, it just requires different controllers like the console games,
Which means you got to have at least 2 Switches, or at least a set of 4 controllers, and those are expensive.
They are. But yeah, it's a good looking party game. Looking forward to it. That's Nintendo for me.
All right, Christy, what about you?
I mean, honestly, I was content with Nintendo, with what they talked about. I was really surprised about the Xenoblade announcing a prequel expansion to the main game. I still need to finish Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which it's on my backlog, and I will finish it one day. But it looks good. From what I've seen on the Treehouse, it's a game that I know for sure I will be playing. And then when they announced Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, I wasn't too sure about it. Of course, I'm part of the problem too, and so I already have it on pre-ordered.
I do too. I'm looking forward to it.
So I am somewhat looking forward to it. I'm still not sure how I feel about the Go features being added to the game. And especially with the fact that I think when you do have to catch the Pokemon, they're still making you use the motion sensor to toss the Pokeball. I'm not too sure how I feel about that, especially if I want to play it on the go.
Oh, tell me about it.
As for Super Mario Party, it looks good. The only thing is that I am slightly disappointed that you cannot play like a full board game online with your friends.
I know.
I have friends. It's just that I don't have that many friends to actually play like a nice, good, solid Mario Party board with.
Me too. I feel you.
Let me see. I was slightly disappointed that they didn't show too much about The World Ends With You, but I mean, we got a release window for it, which is nice.
Good. At least
fall
we know it's
2018.
Fall. Better than nothing.
And then with Octopath, they announced that there's a free demo that's out on the eShop.
That's true.
That was released back on June 14th. So basically last Thursday as of this recording, right?
Yeah. It's out. It's out now, yeah.
Yeah. You're able to play as all 8 characters, which is really nice, except the only bad side to it is that there's only a 3-hour time limit. But I guess the good news is that everything that you do complete will be transferred over onto the main game once you get it in July.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And to round it all out, Fire Emblem, I am so excited for Fire Emblem to be coming to the Switch with the spring 2019. Yes, I think I did hear rumors about it being supposedly in 2018, but I'm A-okay with it being, I guess, delayed to spring 2019 because it looks so good. It looks fantastic. It looks like it's going back to some of the old mechanics of the previous games, which I'm super excited about because I was not a big fan of Fates. But overall, it was a good showing. I mean, I'm just really excited about Fire Emblem. It looks good.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Guys, Nintendo was my favorite press conference this year. I thought, Daemon X Machina was like, what is this R-rated game for my Switch? Like, this is great! And then Xenoblade Chronicles, the expansion, I didn't play 2, but to me, it was, like, a brand new game. I was like, oh my god, I want to play this. I didn't want to play 2, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I want to play this. And then it was coming out this year, so I was like, oh great, this is wonderful. Nintendo did a great job at showing me stuff that's either coming out this year or next year, and they told me when the stuff was coming out, so I know what I'm going to play this year and what I'm going to play next year, and it all looks great. Super Mario Party. I'm a huge Super Mario Party fan. Mario Party fan. Like, yes, and I'm getting it this year. Like, this is wonderful. Let's go Pikachu and let's go Eevee. like, I'm not here for the Go features. I'm also part of the problem. Totally gonna buy it. I'm gonna be mad while I play it. I'm gonna talk crap about it while my Pokemon gain experience.
I do like the Pokeball Plus. I do like the Pokeball Plus.
Oh, for
I will
sure.
carry that with me.
That's
I'm not too sure how I feel about Mew being kind of locked with the Pokeball
behind
Plus.
it. Yeah. But I mean, I completely agree.
That is like the closest we're ever going to get to being an actual Pokemon trainer, though. So you know, why not?
It's so cool.
Having an actual Pokeball
with like your Pokemon that makes noise. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah.
And I hope they do like a bundle where like you can buy it together.
They do have one here.
Even though
there is one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's $100.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I got pre-ordered.
Yeah, it's $100.
Oh, I don't think they've got that live in UK.
Than buying them separately.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So much cheaper. Isn't the Pokeball Plus like $50?
Yeah.
Yeah, how much is it? I was going to say, because it's 45, I think, for us in the UK. Pounds, yeah.
It's crazy. It's expensive.
And then you got to pay another 60 for the game.
For the game, exactly.
Like, not rinsing the money out of us at all here.
and so that's also why I'm annoyed with it, because I'm about to shell out $100 for this shit, and I'm gonna be so mad when I pay for it. But I'm gonna love my Pokeball Plus. But it's mostly just because I'm a huge Pokemon fan, and I love the direction that I get to see the game in. I know that the mainline game isn't coming until next year, so this is kind of my holdover. And I'm actually excited to play this because it looks so gorgeous on the Switch. You know, it looks really good. It's like what Brandon said about Fire Emblem being able to, you know, play this mobile game, but with graphics of an actual console. I am so excited for that. I'm excited for what it's going to look like. I'm excited for walking and riding on my Pokemon. Like, I'm excited for that.
I'm excited that there's a female lord.
There's a what?
A female main lord who's actually wielding an axe.
Oh, and
that's exciting.
Fire Emblem.
Oh, and Fire Emblem. Okay.
I think then Pokemon. I was like,
what? I know. I was like, what?
Pokemon.
What does it have to do with everything?
But yeah, I mean, and I feel the same way about Fire Emblem Three Houses. Like, I'm excited to just. I think Brandon worded it perfectly. I'm so excited for those. And I'm getting one this year and one next year. So there's that. Fortnite is just more fun on the Switch than it is on home console. Yeah, I said it. Octopath, you know, I'm super excited for Octopath, which I'm getting next month. Like, that is a top RPG for me. The World Ends With You, I'm also getting this year, so that's going to be fun. And then Super Smash at the end of the year. Like, Nintendo was like, hey, so we know that Sony was like, Jarrell, there's nothing for you, but hey, we got all the shit for you this year and even more for you next year. And I was like, guys, y'all love me and I love y'all and I'm ready to play all these games with my friends. It was just wonderful. I was interested in every single game that they mentioned, even things that I hadn't looked at before or really even heard of. It was all just stuff that I'm down to play this year and next year, and a lot of it I'm just excited for it. They won. They did the best. I'm done. Go ahead, Toby.
Now it's time for Toby to bring us back to reality.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so my rage has somewhat subsided since the initial E3. Yeah, since it was aired, because I've read various things and just things have been said. But yeah, so I enjoyed the first 20 minutes of the E3 presentation they had. I was really impressed with them showing off the Demon X Machina, and I'm intrigued to know where that's going. Yeah, Super Mario Party, great. I love the Mario Party series too, and I'm kind of sad that it's declined in recent years, so I'm hoping that they can bring it back.
Yeah.
And have some... The mini games did look really good as well, and the way they used the Switch's pad in their trailer, where they like turned it around to
that was so
play
cool.
one of the games, that was really
it was so great.
Clever. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay.
It's like, oh my god, what is this? This is so cool!
Yeah, like, what the hell? But I'm hoping they're like, there's only certain mini games like that, and it's not optional, so that it wouldn't dampen if you had less players or you weren't playing. I don't know, just so that it wasn't like an essential thing, I'm hoping. And yeah, Fire Emblem I love. The last one I played was Awakening, because I didn't play Fates. But I really enjoyed that, so I hope this one, Three Houses, just looks like much more of the same kind of gameplay we like from the Fire Emblem series. That's good. And what else did they have? Oh yeah, Xenoblade. Yeah, Xenoblade I love. I'm still playing through the main story as we speak. I feel like it's going to take me about 100 years, not even kidding. There's just so much to do. And now they're adding like more and more DLC. It's like just so much more intimidating because I want to do it all. And yeah, because it's a prequel, that's new story and stuff, so that should be good. And that was good. And then, as we're not really talking about Smash that much, unfortunately, that's when it went downhill for me, because they just spent way long talking about Smash Brothers. Like, we all knew they were going to talk about Smash Brothers, and we all knew it was coming. But I feel like they could have filled the time they spent on Smash Brothers with other things, i.e. Metroid Prime 4, maybe announce an Animal Crossing, because I was really hoping they'd do that, like a new Pikmin game. And then they just didn't say any of it. And I was really disappointed that there was not even another hint of Metroid Prime 4. They didn't say anything about it, and like they did the whole Smash Brothers going through the characters in a really weird order, and then they teased us with like Ridley being in Smash, and then still no Metroid Prime 4 trailer. I was like, for God's sake, how have they done this to me? Like, I literally just wanted to see Metroid Prime 4. I think if I'd even just seen a hint of that, that would have softened the blow for the amount of time they spent on Smash Brothers. And it was the fact they were going through it as if no one knew what Smash Brothers was. Like, there's been 4 games before that. We all know how it works. You know you have to get percentage up, smash them off the stage. You know there's assist trophies. Like, show us a few characters. Don't go through the whole flipping character roster and then just say, oh, they're all the same and it's all of the previous characters. Well, just say that. We don't need to see them all.
Oh,
it was just
my gosh.
Oh, it was so much stuff on Smash Bros. That we just didn't need. Like, we knew we can have the title and we can have like a 10-minute section, but it was like 20-25 minutes on Smash Brothers, and then it left no time for anything else. And yeah, Pokemon and Smash is like the main games for the end of this year. And having read stuff post E3, I know they kind of want to focus on things that are coming out, and they don't want to show things that are like a million years away, which is the opposite of what everyone else seems to do. Like Sony and Microsoft and everyone show things that maybe don't have release dates or are really far off, and Nintendo don't seem to do that. Which probably is my fault as well, because my expectations are always higher for Nintendo in the same way that, Joel, yours are for Sony. So I probably am to blame for hyping it up too much in my own head, which I'm fully aware of.
Don't worry.
But yeah, I was just disappointed. I was disappointed they spent so long on a Smash, which is kind of also an in-betweeny game. I'm going to say it. It's not a sequel. They can't change the formula that much because everyone's used to the formula. Everyone knows how it works, like I said. So I wasn't expecting it to come out with like a massively mass-changing thing, which is why I felt like they should have also spent less time on it, because it's kind of an in-betweeny. But overall, yeah, they announced some good stuff, and it was like a mixture of my own expectations and the length of time that spoiled it for me.
Yeah.
But I like the stuff that's coming up at the end of 2018.
Okay, so... oh, go ahead.
I think what softened the blow for me, I love Pokemon. It is probably one of my favorite RPGs. I will always buy a Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I think what softened the blow for me with Let's Go was that there's a new mainline RPG coming out for the Switch in 2019.
Yeah.
And I think that softened the blow for me, even though I am disappointed a little bit with Let's Go.
Yeah, like it's like a little holdover until I can get the real game.
Like a little in between. Here's this little one while you can wait for the main game. It's not really a full experience, but it'll give you a little bit of a it'll save your appetite a little bit.
I like it because I think it's a preview of what the next game could be. You know, it's like look at all the things that you can get. Yeah,
it looked really, really good on the Switch and stuff.
Oh,
and
so
they know they're gonna have all the people like us guys that are just going to moan about it, but buy the Pokeball Plus anyway.
Yep. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes.
I watched it during the
I'm literally
Treehouse.
the only one not moaning about it. Like, I'm excited for it, but hey.
I watched it during the Treehouse, and I was like,
It did make me
oh,
re-download
this is
Pokemon Go on my phone.
boring.
So
I was
think-
so bored.
I think after watching all the press conferences, I would like a between, like a press conference that's like in between Nintendo, where they're mostly showing like all their 2018 games, but also something with like Microsoft where they're saying, hey, this is what we're also doing for the future. I would like to see a company do that for their press conference. I feel like that's a good mix. So that way we're not too disappointed by Sony, since I always have high expectations for like Sony and Nintendo and maybe sometimes Square. But
No, yeah, I
I-
completely agree.
feel like I'm disappointed with Sony a little bit just because there was like only Spider-Man that's coming out in 2018. But with Nintendo, I have all these games coming out for 2018, but what are you going to be coming out with in 2019? I know there's like a mainline Pokemon, there's a Fire Emblem coming out, but what else
David
are you guys
X
going to
Machina.
have for 2019?
But yeah. But the good thing about Nintendo is they will give us a Nintendo Direct for what's next.
Yes.
Whereas Sony
yeah,
ain't
we
giving
do
me
get those.
shit.
Don't we?
So I'm just like, great, this is it for me. Like, this is... Okay, so I'm going to wrap up now by saying that this is the one big thing. This is your one chance to get your consumers on your side, to let people know what's coming up. And so based on that, that's how I judge E3. So I'm going to ask you guys to end the show what your best and worst conferences were in your opinion. And I'll start with Brandon.
So the worst easily is EA.
Ooh.
I'm just going to put that one right out there because a lot of it was like apologies again because of mistakes that they had already made. So their thing was less about, okay, selling your product and, hey, this product that's already out, it's actually good, we promise. And then for the products that actually are like coming in the future, I felt like they didn't do a good enough job of like really explaining, like, Anthem is supposed to be like their biggest thing, and all of us pretty much came with the impression like we don't know. Like the initial trailer all got us at least cursorily interested, but now we're just like we don't know. Like, and we should and even if there's not a lot to show, we should know, at least have a better idea, and we don't. And then as far as like the other stuff, you know, EA is its usual sports, it's just not for us really. And then they spent. One of the worst things I think the EA did was the Command and Conquer Rivals thing, which is a mobile game, and there is nothing wrong with mobile games, but it does not should be on E3. And the same thing that Toby was complaining about with Smash Bros. Taking too much long and Nintendo's thing was the same thing with Command and Conquer Rivals on the EA thing.
I can agree with that. Yeah,
like that was a mistake.
But I understood
100%.
it. I will say I actually understood what the hell Command and Conquer Rivals was, so they did that much at least.
Sure, but like either way, it was like too long. So yeah, EA is the worst one for me. As far as the best one, that's tough, honestly, because I want to give that to Microsoft.
Mhm.
But as we discussed, I am not convinced to buy an Xbox, and that's when you're one of the big three, when you're not only selling games but a console as well.
Yeah.
That's your main objective. You want people to buy the console, not the games. So Microsoft did stupendously on the games portion of that, and that's why I wanted to give it to them. But they unfortunately failed to convince me to buy an Xbox this year. Only potentially maybe next year with all the stuff that they're buying, but you know, and then you have Nintendo, which they have. I would say they're probably at the opposite end of that, where they have like these great games that would convince you to get a Switch, but then there wasn't as many games because, as Toby said, you know, their biggest one that would convince you to get a Switch was the one they focused on, really. So I think I'm gonna give it a tie between Microsoft and Nintendo, because Nintendo convinced you to buy the Switch while Microsoft convinced you to buy the games, if that makes sense.
Cool. No, it does. Toby, what about you?
My worst one would probably be Square Enix for me, if we're counting them.
Ouch. If we're counting them, oh my gosh.
I didn't mean... No, I meant...
Ouch.
Damn,
I
that
just realised, yeah.
hurt.
No, okay, yeah. So I'm just going to go, Square Enix for me. The best one is really difficult as well, because, like, Sony and Microsoft showed off loads of games that I would want to play but necessarily can't. Nintendo showed off games I can play but sometimes don't want to. So, but in terms of getting me, like, in that sense of what you're saying about getting your consumer to buy the actual console, for me, it would probably actually be Microsoft that won.
Okay.
Because of Ori. It's all about Ori.
All of E3 boils down to Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Cool. Chrissy, what about you?
I felt like, going off with what Toby said, I think Square, if you count them, they lost just because I felt like it was too little for them to have their own little time slot for the E3. It would have been better if they did it before E3, or maybe, like what you said, somewhere between, like, after EA but before Bethesda or something before Microsoft. I felt like there was just too little to be shown just to have, like, a full-blown E3 conference. It was more of a showcase. As for who won, I felt like it's a tie between the two big. I felt like Microsoft sold me on the games, but they did not sell me on the Xbox. But for Sony, seeing how The Last of Us 2 looks on the PS4 Pro, it has sold me on the PS4 Pro, and that I absolutely need the PS4 Pro. As for Nintendo, I love Smash. It was probably one of the first games I played, so I think Nintendo sold people on the Switch. If you didn't have a Switch, you probably wanted to get one before December so that way you can play Smash. I know I have a friend who, after he saw that there's a Smash Bros. Coming out for the Switch, he's like, I need to get a Switch. I don't care about my PS4. I don't care if I don't get a PS4 Pro or a PS4. I know for sure I need a Switch at this point in time because of Smash. So I think for me it's a tie between the big three.
Okay. I kind of agree with that. But for me, I am going to say that Nintendo won. And I said this before, and it's just because I do think that it's like what you said. If you don't have a Switch, the first thing I said after seeing that was, now is the time. Like, if you don't have a Switch after that presentation, now is the time to get one. Because you have your Smash Bros, you have your Super Mario Party, you have your Pokemon coming next year, you got a Pokemon in between. If you still don't have one, you still have Breath of the Wild. You've got a bunch of stuff. You got Mario and Rabbids.
You have Mario Odyssey.
You have Mario Odyssey, you have Mario Rabbids. Like, now is when we're getting all of the Nintendo titles that we've been waiting on. I'm still waiting on
so much stuff on the eShop as well. So much stuff.
Exactly. And
and Okami is being released on the Switch.
See?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
So, like,
I was actually very surprised that they did not mention anything about Okami on the Switch. Did they even mention it on there from Nintendo?
Oh no, not this year. I think didn't they announce that last year?
I don't remember.
I'm sure that was.
Probably.
I know it's coming out, I think, August or September, but I mean, the release date came from, like, the official Twitter. There wasn't really any big announcement about Okami being released for the Switch.
I don't know. But what I do know is that if you don't have a Switch, after that presentation, right now's the time. You got Fire Emblem coming up, you got The World Ends With You, which I know a lot of people are waiting on, you got your big titles. Honestly, like, it's what I said. Right now, everybody needs a Switch. So we can all play Pokemon together, and we can all play Super Mario together, and we can all play all these games together. Everybody will get a Switch. They won. For me, the loss was Sony, and that is literally just because of my expectations, but also because I don't know that this lineup is going to get anyone to buy a PS4. I think for Square Enix, they were showing off stuff that is coming or we already have or whatever, but that's just stuff like I don't even count them, honestly. I know that's not I'm I'm going against what I said, but I don't count them as, a press conference that, to me, does good or bad, because I kind of see them as just, giving us information, as opposed to Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. Microsoft gave me a bunch of games, but like you guys said, I mean, it's not stuff that is console-worthy. Sony gave me some amazing-looking stuff, but I have who knows how many years to save up before I actually need to go buy a PS4 to play those games, because I don't know. I can hold off on Spider-Man. Why? Because I'll just play all the stuff that Nintendo's giving me this year and next year with my friends. So for me, Nintendo is it. Like, if you don't have a Switch, you need one. You can hold off on your PS4 because I don't know when these games are coming. You can hold off on your Xbox unless you want Ori, like Toby. Yeah, so... it's a Nintendo type of E3 for me. I think they gave me exactly what I wanted. Games that are coming out this year, games that are coming out next year, release dates, games I want to play, games I can play with friends, a bunch of games. And if I don't already have them, they're coming to the eShop or they're already there. There's a bunch of other stuff I can get. Like, yeah, just everybody go buy a Switch.
What I liked about Nintendo was that they announced release windows for their game.
Exactly. So I know I'm getting it sometime next year, as opposed to
Although
Sony.
I'm slightly disappointed that Fire Emblem Three Houses is not going to be localized by 8.4. Slightly disappointed. Because they were the one who localized Echoes, Shadows of Valencia, and I love the localization for Shadows of Valencia.
Oh, well, I can't say anything on that because I had no idea. But that sucks, I guess.
I don't know. There's a localization team for Echoes and Echoes. So.
Phase was localized by Treehouse. Fates was localized by Treehouse, which I really did not like the storyline for Fates. But Echoes, Shadows of Valencia was localized by 8.4,
I swear,
which I really prefer the localization a bit more.
I'm the only person who likes Fates, apparently. But anyway, so that's our thoughts for E3. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I'm Jarrell. You can find me on Twitter at Jitrell. And where can we find you, Brandon?
You can find me on Twitter at Mr. Louis Don. That is a capital M and a capital L on that one.
And Toby?
I'm under Tobes325. T-O-B.
And Christy?
I'm under Twitter as RubyAmber5. You can also find me on Instagram as RubyAmber.
And you can find all of us at WTFGamersOnly. Check out our articles, come check out the site, and we will see you next time. Bye, everybody!
Bye.
Later.
Bye.